the Golden Globes were last night. A lot of winners, a lot of upsets, maybe, if you will. Maybe not. Maybe you expected a lot of this. Maybe you didn't. So we're going to dive into all this because it was quite the show. If you haven't seen it, hopefully you watch it later. There's replays on Peacock TV. You can go on your Peacock app and see it right now. If you want after the show, you can watch it after we talk about it.
Watch it on the cock.
Yes, get onto that Peacock and check it out. So I have a bunch of slides here just kind of saying the winners. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about Eddie Murphy for a second, because Eddie Murphy, I think, had one of the best moments. And of course, all the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, everybody's talking about it. But here's what Eddie Murphy had to say when he went up to accept his award for his Lifetime Achievement.
I want to let you know that there's a definitive blueprint that you can follow to achieve success, prosperity, longevity, and peace of mind, he said. There's a blueprint, and I followed it my whole career, and it's very simple. Just do these 3 things. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name out your motherfucking mouth.
Bam! Straight from his mouth. Which I thought was pretty epic. I thought it was pretty epic.
Did he tell people not to look him in his face when he was speaking?
That's real. That's some real.
But
He
I
was
mean,
on the stage.
and he wasn't up there long. He really took it. He didn't like make it a moment too much, but he had fun with it. And of course, everyone's talking about this again because the slap happened last awards season. So it's kind of like in people's minds. Like, I mean, it wasn't at the Golden Globes, but it is still people are thinking about it, you know? So it was kind of funny. I mean, Eddie Murphy's a funny guy. It shows his comedic timing right there. He was probably waiting to say it. He's probably itching to say that shit out loud. So Sabrina, you hear this. What do you think? Do you think this is a good thing to say on TV, or do you think that he should left the past in the past and not brought it up again?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's a good thing. I will say that it was hilarious. Like, it was one of the only times I laughed during the show. Him and Jennifer Coolidge were really my two highlights.
Oh,
she was amazing.
Jesus
I
Christ.
laughed when she presented. I was dying. When she
Jesus.
accepted, I was dying. Like, so she gave me she gave me some good laughs, and Eddie Murphy for sure.
She was great.
Very
I
funny.
cried. It was better than Cats. She was amazing.
What
It's
does
a
that
quote.
mean?
I didn't just.
But I didn't expect him to say that. I was like waiting for like his advice. I was like, okay, pay your taxes. Okay, that's funny, I guess. Mind your business. Okay, great. And then when he said that, I was like, oh, it just caught me by surprise, and I laughed out loud. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. Chris and Joanna, you heard this. What do you think about that? Were you surprised to hear him say this, or do you think it was a great moment?
I was surprised. Not surprising though, because Eddie Murphy often says things that I find hilarious and unexpected. I thought it was a highlight of the night. I definitely, someone mentioned in the comments that he was the highlight, 100%. I'm like, he made me laugh. And
I disagree with that highlight.
that's fine. You can disagree. But when he was giving the notes, and I was like, I can do it. And then I was like, I've done all those things. Like, how comes I'm not famous? Like, what's going on? But it was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought it
glad
was
everything
No, it
can't
was-
be like a poignant
Yes,
speech about
yes,
racism
yes.
and how, like, you know, it's like everyone's giving the poignant racism speeches. And I'm like, after 7 or 8 of those, I'm kind of good. So I like a good, like, funny moment that doesn't go too far. I don't feel like it went too far. And that was
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I thought it was very lighthearted. It's having fun with the moment too.
I agree.
And you know, it's and Will Smith is already kind of moving on from it as it is. So it's like we should be able to joke about it, right? We should
He got
eventually.
over the hump. He's got a movie out. Everything's fine. It's all good. No one's mad at him anymore.
Yeah.
It's cool.
He's like, I can't go to the Oscars for another 10 years or whatever, but I feel good about it.
But he went out on a high note. He won, so he's cool. He won the
100%.
Oscar. He's like, I'll see you in 10 years. It's
He
all
put
good.
them in their place. He was like, I wasn't gonna be up for an award for a while anyway, so we're good.
Right. He's sitting at the red table.
And Jennifer Coolidge, I want to go back to her for a second too,
Get
because I
her
thought
on the next
everything.
Goddamn, sorry for cutting you off.
You're
God
good.
damn it.
Put her on the Walking Dead sequels.
No.
Put her in
every
there.
one of those.
I don't know
Oh,
what.
this is so weird. There's such zombies. This is odd.
Get her on. She should have hosted.
She should've.
First of all,
She should have.
she should have her own TV show. She is
Oh.
She's hilarious. I find her hysterical.
She really is. She's so funny.
I don't know if it's
Her speech was great when she was, announcing, when she was introducing, and she had her whole story about having the Crocs and her Italian dress.
yeah.
And it's the difference between, I'll say this, it's the difference between her story, which was very similar to, what was his name? Gerard? Because I call him Jared.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what your friggin' name is.
Yeah, Carmichael.
But whatever.
Yeah.
When Gerard was doing his introductory speech and I was falling asleep. When
Oh,
he was
we'll
like,
get to-
they called
Are we
me
going to get to
do
him,
the
by
show,"
the way?
or whatever.
We're going to get into that right now. Why not? We're there.
Oh, no. Well,
But
wait.
just to say, like, the difference is that's when you can tell a seasoned veteran telling a story who's funny versus someone that you're like, when the what just happened? My necklace just came right off. Because I was so excited to talk about this moment. But it's just the difference. I'm like, with him, I was falling asleep, and with her, I was hanging on her every word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
agree.
excited to see his monologue too, of course. And then, like, the one thing I'll say about that I thought was kind of tacky, and I'll say this, is that he's actually saying his salary on the air, which to me is like, you really got to say that out loud, especially in a time where, people are struggling and stuff like that. You're talking about, 500 grand, like whatever. And it's like, that's a lot of money. So I would never say that as a professional, but some people, he's also a comedian, so he can joke about stuff that a lot of us wouldn't joke about. But that was the one thing that really,
folks.
You could have very easily said, and I told her how much, and she said, well, you better go and fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, he very easily could have left out the amount of money.
Like how you turn that money down.
I feel like he mentioned the amount of money because he wanted people to know that it was such a large amount of money, as opposed to leaving it to your mind, where he's like, wealthy people will think a large amount of money is this amount of money, but poor people will think this amount of money is this amount of money. And I'm like, that's all well and good. First of all, I wanted to address, because I'm back to just my first, because I don't have any other numbers. But when Ryan said he's a comedian, and I'm like, I didn't find anything he said funny.
He was a story. I
found that every time he said something that was supposed to be funny, it was very like tee-hee, tee-hee.
Well,
like,
it came out like a librarian
awkward.
reading a story to the children.
Felt really awkward.
Look, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
He even sat down. He just sat down and told that story.
I'm just saying.
Wait, someone said Chris, he was the funniest thing besides
Miss Coolidge.
Oh, God damn it.
I thought his pink tuxedo was the funniest thing besides Jennifer Coolidge, but I didn't find him funny.
He had so many wardrobe changes. He was like Beyonce up there.
He was. He changed a lot. He even made a joke about it too.
Every time I saw him, I was like, what?
Up or down, like he was just like this.
But with
that's his style. That's his style. Like, that's how
his style needs to change.
Well, I'm just saying that is his style. He had a show on TV. That's his style. And he does stand up. That's his style. Like, that's how he delivers his jokes.
Yeah.
And
he was talking a lot about.
I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, so I was excited to see like what he would bring to the table, because of course, if you're the host, it's like you kind of set the stage for the whole show. So, and there were a lot of funny moments in the show.
I would never watch anything that he did independently based on his performance there. I wouldn't. It did not turn me on to being like, oh, this guy is hilarious. Like, he definitely has something. That didn't do it for me.
I just feel like it wasn't the right. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I didn't feel like it was the right tone for hosting an award show.
It was
like
so
he's very laid back and chill.
I felt. First of all, I felt the pacing.
You just yelled at my
the pacing.
GR said boring.
The pacing across the stage, at one point, I thought he was just going to sashay himself off the stage. Like, I was literally like, you're so far off stage left. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, are you serving the food too? I'm confused. I did, however, like that in his like introductory monologue, he did address the fact that he was like, they basically brought me on because I'm Black. Because that was 100%. And I felt like that was the elephant in the room. And I felt like the way that he addressed it was very tasteful for him. And yet I also felt like it was going to put the Hollywood Foreign Press into like a
yeah.
moment, which I also liked.
Make him sweat, right?
Did, like, yeah.
I thought it was really funny when he said that whoever had called him, to tell him that he has to do the job, and they did because you're talented and this and that and the other thing. And then he was like, so we got off the phone and, he's Black too. So, obviously they didn't tell him why they hired him either. Like I thought that was
Yeah.
very
That was
funny.
pretty good.
I
That
had a
was
good
pretty
laugh for
good.
that when he said
Yeah.
that. I just feel like the monologue was very focused on that, and like I feel like, you know, I don't like. I mean, bringing it up and addressing it absolutely because it's an issue, obviously, and like you
Yeah, it's a
know,
big issue. It's been for
they
years.
weren't
Yeah.
on last year because of you know all of this
He brought
non-inclusion
that
stuff, and
up.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he just like you know
The whole Kevin Hart thing
that
last year.
was pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was just
Yeah.
pretty much it. That was his monologue, was just based on that basically. At the end, he did bring it in and be like, "I'm here because of all you people, and you're all immensely talented, and I'm glad to be among you." And you know that's all great, but I feel like he could have like worked at least one other topic
Yeah.
into the monologue, you know.
He definitely did a lot of egos. He did that ego stroking moment, which I thought was very nice because I would have done that too. I would have been like, I wants to be you. I want to be Beyonce. I want to be Ryan Murphy. Like I want to be all these people. I felt like if he was going to be that casual, he could have taken it further. He could have come out in like jeans and a t-shirt at one point, or like no shoes on, or they could have cut to him like whitening his teeth because isn't that what he said in his monologue or whatever, or like you know like doing his toenails. Like I felt like he could have done, if he was going to be that casual, I felt like they could have done more with that.
And the Rihanna thing is pissing me off too.
Oh. Tell us how you feel about the Rihanna thing, Chris. What's
Why
going
do you
on
keep
your mind with
bringing her
that?
up? Like, why you keep bringing her up? I don't understand.
Well, people love Rihanna. That's why people
I
love
will tell
Rihanna.
you, I have an answer.
I understand they sit in a thing, the tables,
Yes.
right
And
close.
she was right there. Like
She was
Brad
right
Pitt was
there.
right there. How many times did
But-
people mention Brad
but-
Pitt? So she was the
Oh
female
yeah, they mentioned
equivalent
Brad
of
Pitt a few times.
You know what I
Who
mean?
is Rihanna? I mean, but
I do think
But
Rihanna, Brad Pitt was like, motherfucking right, you mentioned my name. Rihanna's like, why'd you mention my name? Why are you mentioning my name too? Like Niecy Nash, why are you mentioning my name? Like I definitely when it was Brad Pitt, he was like, guys, please, like I'm doing shots to my name. It's good. But like you could tell Rihanna was like, what?
I
What
will.
happened?
I will cut him some slack.
Yeah, yeah, and then that's the thing. It's his first time. It's such a big opportunity for him too to be doing this. Like Ty just said,
he missed
it's
it.
huge.
100%.
And it's like
I'm just
for
saying-
him to have this.
Yeah,
I can't imagine hosting the Golden Globes.
No,
Obviously, we
Yeah.
saw a lot. We've seen a lot of people host a lot of award shows, right? So, like, we're all in a position of being like, we've seen it. It doesn't mean we've done it. I get it. But I just feel like I felt like the pacing was a lot. I felt like he did a lot of pacing. It was like too much. And I felt like he
And the
could have
sitting
done
was a little bit weird.
more. Yeah. Like, even when he was sitting there,
Like
that's
a
the thing, too.
storyteller.
Brad Pitt was like right there in his face. And I would have been like, Brad, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I was,
Yeah,
on the phone, I was like whitening my teeth. You get this? Like I would have felt like I would have done just a little bit more in the fact that I'm getting $500,000 apparently. I would not have slept for 6
A
weeks
lot of money.
and been like, let's get this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Ty
What-
said he is funny. I just said Ty that it was
I mean,
it was a different, it was not the right pace for an award show in my opinion. You know, he is funny, and I have seen his stand up before, and I have seen the Carmichaels. I expected something a little bit different because it was an award show. It's a different format. I just expected him to like maybe have more energy or more. I don't know.
Right.
I just expected something else, you know. But I have no beef with him. I think he's a very funny person. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like it was very low energy. Oh my gosh, is there like earthquakes happening? Everything's moving.
Yeah, it looks like
I just
it.
feel
I
like
just thought you
it
were
was
in
just a
earthquake.
weird tone for an award show, you know?
I'm used to like
I mean,
Ricky
especially
Gervais.
compared to Ricky Gervais when he's
Well,
like,
I'm
"You're an
saying,
asshole.
I'm
You're an
saying,
asshole.
I'm
Fuck you."
Well, yeah,
Tyler,
Ricky
you know?
Gervais, Ricky
like-
Gervais, though.
Ricky Gervais, when Tina Fey and what's her name, like when they hosted,
And
like
people.
there's like an energy, and even like when Whoopi Goldberg did, like there's an energy that I felt like. I understand. I'm saying award shows in general. I'm not just talking about the Golden Globes. I'm saying in general, there's an energy that I feel like happens during award shows, and this wasn't that energy.
It was.
And maybe they weren't going for that, and that's fine because maybe they wanted it to be different.
But-
But it wasn't
Yeah.
what I'm used to or what I necessarily like.
But maybe we need to watch something of his that was
Well, this didn't draw me into
funny.
that.
I know, but
I'm just happy they're back in person and they have a host again, and
Yeah.
they're pushing for like the Oscars are having a host again this year too. Jimmy Kimmel's coming back to do it. So the fact that they're getting back to doing this again, I think is a great thing. Moving it forward, it just the energy is different always. You know, when you get people in the room and get them drinking and hanging out, you know, it's just a better vibe. Let's go
I
into a little bit of
also-
the winners. All right, you got something else to say, Sabrina?
I was just gonna say I really liked that they like tried to play people off and nobody listened. I liked
know.
that everyone had their time up there and they said what they wanted to say and then they
Michelle
left.
Yeoh,
Like
especially.
she was like, "Shut up! I can beat your ass," and
Yeah.
I'm 60,
know.
so word. You know what
I
I
like
mean?
that they
and-
all said something to her.
They-
The piano player who was
they-
like, I'm
yeah,
I
trying
know.
to play the piano.
The poor piano player is like, I'm gonna get fired if I don't start playing.
If I don't
And
start
they're
playing
telling
them
me to
off.
Shut up. But it's
Yeah,
a funny
but
thing.
She actually came out and said, I wasn't purposely trying to play people off during their acceptance speeches. And it's
even though
like,
that's your job.
yeah, that's your job because it's
Right.
supposed to tell the people like, okay, you wrap it up, you know?
They were like,
But why-
to Kane and pull, Kane and
Yeah.
pull. Let's do it.
But why do these shows? These shows are all about people having that moment. It's like, you know, honoring people's performance and all the hard work they've done. And they push them off so fast. Here's what I say. Why don't they actually put more time, allocate more time on their schedule for these award shows and maybe do less of these sketches? I know they want it to be a show, but it's an award show. It's supposed to, people are supposed to have time to talk and thank. And that's the
Right.
whole purpose of it. So
I felt like
when you
they
see this
didn't do
happening,
that a
doesn't it
lot.
make you like hate that?
My feeling is, you know, yes, if you've accepted your fourth award, keep that crap short. But
Yeah.
if this is your first time and you have no idea if you're going to have a job tomorrow, you think you're pinky toe, like you think whoever chill out up there. Like if she's what in her 60s or she just turned 60, like give that bitch a minute. Like she needs a second and give it to her. You know what I'm saying? Like she don't know she's going to be back tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
always
she
say
is-
that about award shows. It's so annoying. It's like you're there celebrating these actors and these directors and these, you know, creative people. Like that is what you're there for. Like, you know, and even if like in the Oscars, like whatever, like animate, there are certain awards that they do before the show because there's all this nonsense going on. Like if you're nominated for an Oscar, let me be in the room and accept the Oscar. Like, and not like do it beforehand before it's on TV. Like I've nominated for an Oscar. Like there's a lot of categories that they don't really pay much attention to. They always play people off when they're having their acceptance speeches. It's like, I don't care if you're makeup or wardrobe or an actor or a director or a sound mixer. Like you won a fucking Oscar. Say what you have to say.
Yeah.
Go up there and accept your, that's what the night is about. The night is about you. It's about your award. So cut all the bullshit in between and let whoever is accepting the award accept the award. I feel like they actually honored that on the Golden Globes, like for the most part.
I loved that Ryan Murphy had the trans actor from one of his shows stand up as she had already received an award that was not televised to get recognition and to have everyone stand and applaud her. I loved that he did that. And I also loved that he mentioned all of the important people that he has worked with and their accomplishments and things that they said or things that motivated them. I loved that. So I 100% agree. I'm like, you could have the award show and be like, hey, listen, we're going to stream it for 74 hours. It's going to be a 74-hour long event on Paramount Plus. And then we're going to pick the 3-hour, like, important moment where most people are going to watch it. And we're going to like splice that crap up. But it's going to be 74 hours because if you were like third makeup artist from the left and you're going to get an award, your parents might want to see it. Like other people might want to see. So I think
they
that's
might want to go and have that moment. That's the thing. You should have your moment. And there's a lot of people that there's some upsets. I know they talk about Top Gun Maverick didn't get anything. What?
Singing.
What? I'm singing a Whitney song.
It's the 3 words of it he knows.
Give me one moment in time.
Okay, we have to take the mic away from you.
Yeah.
But even like Top Gun Maverick was up for Best Picture. It did not win, of course. That was like one of the highest grossing movies of the year. So what's that say about the Golden Globes? It's not based off numbers then. It's based off of what? It's art, right? So Spielberg won Best Picture for The Fabelmans. Have you seen that before, Chris and Joanna? Did you see that movie? We didn't get a chance to see that yet, but everyone's like raving about it.
No, didn't see The Fabelmans. Here's what I'm going to say. And this is the moment I said to Chris earlier before we came on the air. I was like, are we going to, am I trying to keep it like diplomatic or like real? Because how I really feel about the Golden Globes last night versus the Golden Globes clearly in the past
Well, we can just ask you about the movie.
is that it wasn't. No, I said we didn't see it.
Okay, but
So that was the end of that comment. Now
Well,
I
he
was
just asked you
segueing.
about the
I
movie.
like to call it a nice segue.
well, he didn't segue. He's
I segued
Yeah,
for myself.
that's
Ryan, is
That's
it
good.
okay that I segued for
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, get in
Okay.
there, Joanna.
Thank you.
Jesus.
So what I was going to say was, I think that my overall perspective of last night was that it was not necessarily about art or about gross. It was about diversity. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I think last night was about. I think it was about the Hollywood Foreign Press being like, we obviously need to diversify. And so that's what we're going to do.
Do you think that makes up for everything in the past, though? Like, I mean, the fact is, before they haven't, and so like doing it now, does that make up for it? Can they ever make up for what they've done in the past?
No, but here's the thing too, and this is something that I know it splits people a lot because I obviously am a white person, and so my perspective is always, I know it's shocking. I know. Put your glasses away or put them on and notice me for who I am. I think as a white person, everyone is going to say your white privilege and maybe unconscious bias and all the things. And 100%, I do not believe that they have been diverse in the past. However, I feel like sometimes when you become hyper focused on something, you then end up like splitting where other things are. Because I'm like, I don't 100% think that necessarily all of the people, and this is always the case, right? There's always reasons for why people win and people who give money to whomever and these backdoor deals and the whole thing. But I feel like if you're really focusing on ethnicity, and that's your focus, then whether or not it makes up for the past, that's going to be what you do. So it's like, of course, the white dude might not win because we want to focus on diversity. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that seems to be the theme of what they were doing yesterday. That's how I felt about it.
I just feel like they should never have gotten to this point. Like, honestly, it's like it's always supposed to be behind, well, everyone, I guess it's a big facade, like it's based off talent, but it hasn't been that. It's just been based off, like you said, it's like backdoor deals, favors, people give money. And also they have all these like judges, they butter up to these judges too. That's been a thing that's happened for years. And it's like, and if they don't kiss these judges' butts or, the forum, they don't kiss their butts. They're like, well, we're not going to give you anything. Look at what happened with Brendan Fraser. He like boycotted it because of what happened in his past. And everyone's saying that his performance should be like the one, of course, Austin Butler won for Elvis, which his performance was great. He can't lose that Elvis accent, apparently, if you watch the Golden Globes.
No, it was right.
So weird.
He still
weird.
sounds like Elvis. I'm everybody very much. I'm going to accept this
Am
award.
I
and
the
it's gonna be
only one
good.
that's hot? I was like, oh, is it hot in here or is it just you? Like,
No.
oh,
He sounded, oh my God, no, he looked very unkempt too, like
he
shaved
sounds
his
like
face
he's
or
from
something.
Tennessee. Is
That's
he
pretty
from New
good.
York? Like, I'm confused.
Stop.
It's very weird. He must be method.
He can call me anytime.
Yeah, he really got into it. I'm going to rapid fire through some of these things. If you can help me, Sabrina, just kind of telling people if they didn't watch some of the winners actually. And then as we go along, if there's something we want to talk about quickly, like maybe a speech or something that comes up. But I kind of want to sort of rapid fire through these fast. So here's who won last night. We're going to start with, I guess start with the top, best actor in television series.
Okay, so the best actor in television series, musical, or comedy is Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, which, by the way, if you haven't seen The Bear, check it out. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. Best
Hulu.
original
Hulu.
song.
It's on Hulu, right?
No, it's on Netflix.
Oh, I thought it was on Hulu. I think it's
Maybe
Hulu.
it's Hulu. Hulu or Netflix. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I watched
check
it.
it out.
It's amazing. I thought it was Netflix.
His speech was
What the
awesome,
fuck do
too.
I know?
Either
I
way,
watched
watch
it on
it.
Netflix.
Best original song in a motion picture. Not to. Music by two names I cannot pronounce, so please read it yourself. Best original score in a motion picture, Justin Hurwitz for Babylon, Paramount Pictures. Best supporting actor in a television series, Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary, ABC. Abbott Elementary came off as a big winner, by the way.
It
Best
really
actress
did.
in a supporting role in any motion picture is Angela Bassett with conviction.
won that-
Black Panther girl.
Yeah, she won it with conviction.
That's
Conviction.
my girl.
Yeah.
Best actor
Wait.
in a supporting role in any motion picture is Ki who how do you say his middle name? Ki Hu Kwan.
Yeah,
Kwan.
he was. Before
Oh,
we
he
move
was
on,
fabulous.
His
yeah,
he
before
was
we move
what-
on,
He was wonderful. He was.
yeah.
his
Oh.
speech brought me to tears.
Me too.
I mean, think
He
about
was-
that. Like,
He was.
he was
so
talking about there were no
excited
roles.
And,
yeah, he
Yeah.
was
Like,
talking about there was no
40
roles for
years
him when he
later.
was, yeah. And he
Yeah.
gave up acting. He gave up acting and then came back to it now because of Crazy Rich Asians, and that brought him back to it. And he was able to actually get this role, and he wins a Golden Globe. It's so
Inspirational.
touching.
And he's one of
He-
those dudes where I'm like, you let him say whatever he wants to.
Yep.
Good. Like, thankfully,
For as
he was
long
the
as
very
he
first
wants.
word.
Yeah.
Because I was like, let him talk for 3 hours. I don't even care. Like, I love him. He was
Yeah, he
amazing.
deserved it. And he was so good
Yeah,
in that
and-
movie. If you haven't seen that movie is so good. It's so weird though,
good.
too. It's so weird.
It
But
really
it's
Jamie
so
Lee
good.
Curtis was great too.
Yeah. And she had
Um,
like hot dog fingers.
ALC.
I also, before we move
he-
on to, continue. Go ahead, Sabrina.
That he also has, like, Steven Spielberg has kept in touch with him since Temple of Doom, or whichever one of the Indiana Jones movies he was in. And so he kept in touch with him every year. He like sends him a Christmas card or Christmas present every year still, and keeps in touch with him. And that's why he gave him such a big thank you. Like, he's been like an active part of his life since he was 8 years old and in that movie. And I would also
Yeah.
like to mention that he was also Data in Goonies. Okay, $50
Yes, he
bill, y'all.
was.
Which was
You
awesome.
can hear it. If you just close his eyes, if you close your eyes and you listen to his voice, you can hear it. Like, you're like,
You totally
100%.
do.
100%.
100%.
I didn't know it was him. I know it was him right away when I was watching the movie, and then all of a sudden, like, wait a second, that's Data. And it's been so long. He had this great story. He had this great story where he said that when he was a kid, after he finished working in Indiana Jones, he invited Spielberg and George Lucas to his birthday party because his brother said, invite him. They didn't come, but George Lucas sent a U-Haul truck full of Star Wars toys to his house. And Spielberg sent a brand new huge CRT TV at the time with like all these movies on VHS and a new VCR too, so you can watch it.
I
But that was
think
kinda
that's my birthday. Shut up. I'm
I
totally
know, right?
doing it. Like, send me some crap.
It was
That's
touching.
awesome.
Before we move on to, I want to talk about the conviction thing we're doing because people are probably like, conviction, what's that about? Chris, can you tell us what that means? Or do you not feel
Yeah.
comfortable telling that story?
Angela, what did you do? What are you doing?
Nothing. I just had
Quick story. Angela Bassett won last night, and I found out that Golden Globes were on a Tuesday night, by the way, which is really
weird.
weird.
Yeah, weird.
But she won, and she had directed an episode of American Horror Story, and I had to read offline. And she came up to me, and she was like, Chris, I need, and like the background was in the background.
That's
And
fair.
she was like, she go, get, look, like this. Like, it can't really. She go, Chris, I need you to show me conviction. Like that. And I was like, oh, shit.
It's like, I've lost my job.
It's like, she's like, I need you to show them what they are going through. I need you to do that. Show them. And then
And
Scene.
then you did it with conviction.
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 Can you hear her saying that out there, everybody? And she is
the
such an amazing
she is the
person, right?
best- She is one of the best actresses
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
people.
she's amazing.
She's amazing. She's
Yeah.
amazing. She's
There's
amazing.
not enough to say. She's amazing.
Yeah.
That was a funny time because she gave me a bruise on my
Shoulder.
shoulder,
She needed
But-
that conviction,
but-
baby.
but it was a good bruise. It was a good bruise. It was always a good bruise. It was a good bruise.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna go through a few more things. Thanks for that story, Chris. Appreciate it. I bet everybody loves it out there, and that's what you get here at Cruise Control: stories from people that actually work in the entertainment industry and interacting with these people that you think are so far out there no one can touch them. Well, they're regular people working jobs, and a lot of us work with them day in and day out. But we're gonna go through a couple rapid fire things here because we're getting close to the end of our show. I'm looking at my watch. We're almost out of time. So let's just go through and kind of go through the rest of the winners fast. You get it if you haven't seen the show, if you have a chance to check it out. So Sabrina, help me out with a few more of these here, and we'll kind of go rapid fire
Hopefully
fast
I can
through
pronounce
here.
them. Best actress in a miniseries drama, Zendaya for Euphoria. Best actor in a motion picture drama, Austin Butler for Elvis.
Which we said,
Best motion picture animated, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I think it's very funny that we have to say his name before Pinocchio. It's not just Pinocchio, it's Guillermo del Toro's
Guillermo
Pinocchio.
del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah, and that is on Netflix. I don't know why didn't it say
you
the
can check
bear
that
word
out.
when it was on. It didn't say.
I know it's Hulu.
It was on Netflix.
Oh, it was Hulu. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm not paying attention. Best actress in a motion picture, musical or comedy is Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Her speech was awesome, like we said.
Her speech was awesome. Best actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy is Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, which, by the way, I'm super excited to see. I loved In Bruges, and I think it's going to be amazing, and it deserved it. Searchlight Pictures for that. Best actress in a television series, musical or comedy is Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary on ABC.
There's a lot of these.
And
there's a lot. Maybe we'll just say, you can see but you know what? We'll do a list for the full results. But another couple big winners like Spielberg, Best Director. Let's see.
Martin McDonagh
Blackbird
won for Best Screenplay.
Yeah. Kate Blanchett for Best Actress in a Motion Picture. Yeah.
Julia Gardner won for Ozark for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, Kevin Costner won for Best Actor in a Television Series Drama for Yellowstone. Like we said, Jennifer Coolidge won for White Lotus before.
White Lotus also won for Best Limited Series.
Yeah,
so
which was a great show if you haven't checked it out.
Evan Peters won for Dahmer.
Evan Peters.
Another amazing
actor. I don't watch I didn't watch that.
I did.
She
Very
did.
dark.
Yeah.
But
He was great. He was great.
He was so good.
It was traumatizing, but amazing.
And then the big ones for Best Picture, The Fabelmans, for drama, musical, or comedy, Best Picture, The Banshees of, how do you say it? Inisherin?
Inisherin.
I can't. Inisherin. Yeah. Best TV series drama, House of the Dragon, and then Best TV series musical or comedy, Abbott Elementary. So yeah, I think that Colin Farrell's speech was great. That was awesome. Michelle Yeoh, like I said, it was so touching how she went off about how she moved here, and they made that joke about how when she learned English on the plane because it said, "Oh, you can speak English."
Yeah. She was it's like 13 hours. She's like, I learned it from being on this plane.
Yeah. Evan Peters, like we were saying, Evan Peters, like Chris and I have both worked with Evan. Evan's a great guy. He's so awesome. Like I was so happy for him when I heard that he won this, and then when I saw his speech, I was like, "Get it, Evan!" Like he's such a great guy. He deserves it. And that show was creepy and he did a great job, but it's tough to watch. It really is. Chris, Joanna, did you see that show? Did you end up checking that out?
It's painful. I mean, it's definitely, I was watching pieces of it every day over many days. And I was like, oh God, it's like torturous. But at the same time, you're drawn to it. You're like, I have to know what happened. And I was like cross-referencing. That's when you know when it's a good show, right? Because you're cross-referencing it with the truth. You're like, what's in the news? Like, what do we have? So I loved it because of that. And I can't imagine how I feel like this sometimes with actors, how they have to go to such a depth and do that for such a consistent period of time and not have it like really weigh them down in a way. So I was super impressed with him. Amazing.
But Brian, he can go in from like being that person. Yeah. And then you seeing him like.
Yeah, fine. Totally normal.
Yeah, Evan. Just Evan.
Being like,
yeah.
It's just like he can come in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like. On Horror Story, I remember one time, like he's like playing a serial killer at that time. He's doing a really dramatic scene, And then they say cut, and he comes up to me, and I was talking to him for a second, and he saw like it was during COVID, so I had a hand sanitizer dangling. He's like, I do the same thing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. He said I was so happy for him, honestly. Like Chris and I have worked with him for years, and he deserves it so bad. Yeah, yeah, he's such a good person. So that made me really happy. Colin Farrell winning made me really happy because I like Colin Farrell a lot.
I like to just hear his accent because he like never plays an Irishman, and he's Irish. So every time he opens his mouth when he's in real life, I'm like, sweet Jesus. Unlike Data, right? Who like you close your eyes and you're like, I see you every time. If I close my eyes and Colin Farrell talked for 5 minutes, I would have zero clues as to who he was. I love it. It's just hysterical.
Yeah, it was a lot of great performances, a lot of great movies, TV shows. I watched House of the Dragon too. I thought that was a great series. So I mean, they're coming back for more. So I wasn't surprised on that one either. But overall, it was a pretty good show. I was happy to see it back in person and have actual people there and joking and laughing and drinking, like I said, and just being normal again and making our way back that way. And hopefully the Oscars are good.